What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Yashay, back at y'all with another one, man. I know y'all haven't seen me in a minute just because of, man, nigga had a little life or whatnot. But man, I'm getting back on this YouTube channel, so y'all stick in, y'all stay locked in, man. You welcome to the army, man. Join the motherfucking army. That's it, man. Let's get into the video. The worst kidnappers in Alaska or whatnot. Link to this video gonna be in the description down below. Let's get into the video.
In 2008, a young man was driving along a dirt road in a forest when he spotted up ahead this large, strange-looking animal that he didn't recognize that appeared to be dead on the side of the road. And so, curious what it was, he drove past the dead animal and he stopped his car and he got out and began walking back up the road towards the animal to see what it was. And when he got right on top of it, he crouched down to get a better look, and as he did, he heard the sound of something moving behind him. And then before he could turn around, everything went black. But before we get into today's story, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious we
gonna skip the intro. But what he was gonna say is what I'm finna say right now. Leave a like to Yashay's reaction video, man. Make a like, man. So to this bit, man, you know.
To our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. Okay, let's get into today's story. In 2008, 22-year-old Julian Buchwald was living in a small rural town in southern Australia called Budgeree. He lived there with his parents, who owned a small house on a massive 1,200-acre plot of land, which for reference is about 2 square miles.
Damn, that's a lot of land. I'm trying to get 6. No, they got the bank, man. They had farming.
This land was made up mostly of thick brush and forested areas, so for the most part, they just stayed close to their actual house. However, there was a waterfall.
Yeah, I wouldn't walk around there either. I probably already said it on here, but a Brazilian wanderer, I'm not trying to get bit, bro. The bitch be in Alaska. Your shit gonna be hard all day. Your girl gonna have a good time, but you not. Your shit gonna stay hard. You gonna start hurting. Not going to Alaska.
Deep into the woods on their property that periodically they would go to visit. Less than a 20-minute drive north of Budgeree was another small rural town called Churchill, and in that town was Julian's girlfriend, 17-year-old Carolyn Watson, who also lived with her parents. The young couple had met 2 years earlier at the church they both went to. They were both very devout Christians, and their plan was to get married the next year when Carolyn turned 18 and was done with her studies. On Tuesday, March 4th of...
Man, that's a little early, G. I ain't catch the name. I ain't catch his age. But that's a little early, my fam. 18? You ain't even got to discover anything.
Just do a little like I can. No. That year, Julian and Carolyn decided to go out and have a picnic lunch at the waterfall on Julian's family's property. So early that afternoon, Julian left his house, he hopped in the family car, he drove north to Churchill, he picked up Carolyn, and then he drove her back to his family's property, where he turned onto a dirt road that would take them into the forest to the waterfall. At some point along this short, bumpy road through the forest, Julian was looking out ahead of the car when he spotted what looked like roadkill on the side of the road. And this roadkill, it looked bigger than he was used to seeing in this area. And so
man, the nigga caught a body. Man, damn, they got that. What was the nigga from the last video I called? Todd. They got Todd ass again. Caught his ass in the woods. Get your ass out the woods. What you doing now?
he stared at it as the car kind of rolled past it, and right after they had driven past the roadkill, he turned to Carolyn and said, you know, hey, there's some really weird roadkill on the side of the road right over there. And so Carolyn, who really didn't care, she kind of slowly looked up and turned around and looked, but she didn't see it. And then after that, the two of them did not discuss the roadkill any further. And so Julian just continued to drive along this dirt road until the road kind of opened up into this big clearing. And in the middle of this clearing, which was basically this field, there was a small pond with a 10-foot high waterfall feeding into it. This was the...
Oh, Hold up, this the waterfall, y'all. It be beautiful as hell. No kiss out. Y'all see me right here. Y'all see me right here. Big ass waterfall. Hey, put in the comments if you'll dive in that bit. I give you $10. I bet you none of this gonna be linked up. Every single one of the bangers I make always not linked up. I swear.
Waterfall. And so Julian parked the car right at the end of the dirt road, right on the edge of this clearing, and he and Carolyn got out. They went around to the back of the car, they got their picnic supplies out of the trunk, and they set up their picnic lunch right on the edge of this pond, looking up at this waterfall. And they were there for about an hour, just kind of enjoying each other's company, and then around 2:30 p.m., they realized it was time to go, because they had told their family they'd be back by 3. And so they packed up all of their picnic stuff, they went back to the car, they put it back in the trunk, they hopped back inside the car. Julian.
Oh, just let y'all know while I'm, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm having a gaming channel. I already had it. I've been had it. I probably don't be on that bit all the time. I'm gonna start being on the bit. I'm finna graduate, so y'all finna get a lot more bangers.
Turned it on. He turned the car around, and they began driving back down the dirt road that had brought them in. And as soon as they began driving down this road, Julian remembered the strange roadkill he had seen on their way in. And he decided that he wanted to stop and get out and actually go up to it. And
say it with me. Goofy! Why you want to get out, bruh? Man, why you want to get out, bruh? You should at least have a cousin with you, bruh. Why you want to get out, bruh?
And so as they're driving along, he looks over at Carolyn and says, "Hey, do you mind if I stop the car when I see the roadkill so I can go look at it?" And Carolyn looked at him and she's like, "Okay, but remember, we have to be back by 3 p.m. That's what we told our families, so please be quick." And so Julian said, "No problem." And so he continued driving along, scanning for this roadkill. But after driving for several minutes, he had not found the roadkill yet. And he started to become worried that he had just driven past it without realizing it. And so he stopped.
Bro, why you want to see it, bro? Like, why you being op, bro? Why you being cop, bro? Are you getting paid for it, bro? Like, what's wrong with you? Nigga, bro, you just seen a kidnapper, bro. You better go grab that nigga. Never mind. Fuck what I was just saying. Go grab that nigga and save his ass.
Stopped the car. They're pretty close to the end of this dirt road. They're almost back to Julian's property, but he stops the car right in the middle of this dirt road, and he turns to Carolyn and says, "Hey, I think I drove past it. Do you mind if I just hop out and run back?" And so Carolyn was totally annoyed that this roadkill viewing was really becoming quite involved. But she says, "Okay, go. But again, you got to be quick because, it's almost 3 p.m. And so Julian kind of grinned at her. He put the car in park and he hopped out, he turned, and he began jogging back down the road in the direction of the waterfall. And after jogging for maybe 30 seconds or so, the road had turned to the right. And so from where he was on the road, if he turned around, he would not have been able to see his car.
My dumb man, I thought that was the real road. Immediately when I looked up, felt stupid as fuck.
Or Carolyn. He was kind of deep in the thick of this forest. But he knew, this road is not very long, and so I'm sure the roadkill has got to be up here somewhere. And so he decided he would just continue running back along this road for maybe 1 or 2 more minutes, and if he didn't find the roadkill by then, he'd just have to give up, turn around, and head back to the car. And so he began jogging, continuing towards the waterfall on this dirt road, and sure enough, after about a minute, he spots off to the side the roadkill. And so he runs up to it, and right away he sees it's this huge animal that's right on the side of the road. There was a branch from a tree that had kind of obscured the carcass a little bit, and he figured that's why on the return trip he hadn't seen it, because this branch was kind of blocking it from view. And so standing over it, still not even sure what it is, he reached down and he moved the branch, the tree branch, out of the way to get a better look at this big dead animal. And right as he did that, everything went black.
Just like he did.
A few minutes later, Carolyn, who was still sitting in the car waiting for her boyfriend to come back, looked at her watch and realized it was getting really close to 3 p.m. and still Julian was not back yet. And so, feeling kind of annoyed with him, she sat up in her seat and turned around and looked out the rear window of the car, expecting to see Julian come bounding down the road toward her. But when she looked out the back window, all she saw was this dirt road that kind of bent off to the right out of view and thick trees everywhere. Her boyfriend is nowhere to be seen. Annoyed, she turned back around and sat facing forward again, but began periodically looking in the side view mirror, expecting Julian to pop up at any moment. But after several more minutes went by, and still Julian had not come back yet.
They don't realize they done seen that you seen the nigga that got loose somehow, and now they finna get his ass. They finna put him in that trunk wherever they were finna put other homie. They finna cook your ass over open fire like a pig. Bro, you shouldn't have, bro. That's what I said. Why y'all trying to be investigators, bro?
Her annoyance turned into concern. Was Julian actually okay? And so she decided, it's almost 3 p.m. now. We got to get back. I need to get out and actually go investigate and see what's going on with Julian and this roadkill. And so she opened her car door. She stepped outside. She stood up. She turned and she looked.
And that's the end of the video. If you want to see more of this video, let me know in the comments or leave a bunch of likes. If I get the 10 likes, I will bring this out sooner. The next video out sooner. This will be an editing process. But with that being said, if you ain't welcome nowhere else, you're welcome here. Y'all said Army, join the motherfucking Army Mafia gang. I'm not doing none of that intro or all that corny shit. We just talking in this one. Like I said, the link to this video go in the description down below. The next video probably on the screen right now. If it's not, in a few minutes after I start talking. That being said, man, peace, man. I love y'all, man. I love to be back. Bye.